All right, so today what we're doing is we are reviewing lesson 2 for chapter 3. We're learning about our government, and then we're going to take that quiz. Don't take that quiz until the end of our lesson today, okay? So what is a government?
What is a government? A government is a group of people who work together to run a community, state, or country. A community government runs a city or town. A state government makes decisions for its communities. A country government works for its citizens. Some schools have a student government, which may help solve problems. Most governments have a constitution, which tells how the government works. The United States Constitution created 3 parts or branches of government. Each part has certain responsibilities. No branch has more power than another, so they work together to get things done.
And what we call that is going to be called checks, a check, or we call them checks and balances, okay? And that is going to be on your test, so you need to know that. No branch of government is more powerful than another. They all are equal. So we have things in place so that there are checks and balances.
President. The president is the leader of our country. The president lives and works at the White House in Washington, D.C. The president suggests and signs or approves new laws. People who work with the president help to carry out or enforce the laws. They do this by making sure that people obey laws. The president is the leader of the military. Other leaders give advice to the president about important issues. These issues include education, health, and safety. 1. Reading check.
And if you haven't done your reading checks, you guys can watch that from yesterday's video.
Congress. Congress is the branch of government that makes and votes on laws. To vote means to make a choice that can be counted. Members of Congress work in the Capitol, a building in Washington, D.C. People in each state vote for their members of Congress. These members represent, or speak for, the people of their state. Look at the chart to learn more about the 2 parts of Congress. Members of Congress.
We have the
Senate. 2 senators from every state.
House of Representatives.
100 senators. Elected every 6 years. House of Representatives. Number of people elected from each state is based on how many people live in the state. No more than 435 representatives total, elected every 2 years. Congress is responsible for collecting taxes. A tax is money that is collected by the government from its citizens. Taxes help to pay for government services. Both parts of Congress must vote on a bill before it can become law. Then it is sent to the president. The president may say yes or no to the law. If the president says no, this means Congress has been checked.
Remember, checks and balances.
The president looked at the law and decided it was not good for the country. If the president signs the law, then the president thinks it will help the country.
All right.
Supreme Court. The court system is another branch of government. State and local courts mainly decide if a law has been broken, and if so, the punishment. National-level courts decide issues between states and laws for the whole country. The Supreme Court is the country's highest court. It makes sure laws are fair by studying and interpreting the Constitution. Sometimes the Supreme Court may check Congress when it says a law is not fair. It may check the president when it says an action taken goes against the Constitution. The Supreme Court has 9 justices. The president picks each justice, but the Senate must agree to each choice. The Senate checks the president when it turns down one of those choices to the court.
All right, guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to watch that video I was talking about yesterday to learn more about those 3 branches of government. So we learned about the executive branch, which is the president, the legislative branch, which is Congress, which is made up of the House of Representatives and the senators. And then the third one is going to be the judicial branch, which is the Supreme Court.
circus someday. People will say it's a fine one, son. Gonna have a three-ring circus someday. People will come from miles around. Lions, tigers, acrobats, and jugglers and clowns galore. Tightrope walkers, pony riders, elephants, and so much more. Guess I got the idea right here at school. Felt like a fool when they called my name, talking about the government and how it's arranged, divided in three like a circus. Ring one, executive. Two is legislative, that's Congress. Ring three, judiciary. See, it's kind of like my circus.
So executive, president, legislative, Congress, which is made up of House of Representatives and the Senate. Ring three is the judicial branch, which is made up of our Supreme Court and our court systems.
Circus, circus, step right up and visit ring number one. The show's just begun, meet the president. I am here to see that the laws get done. The ringmaster of the government. On with the show! Hurry, hurry, hurry to ring number two. See what they do in the Congress. Passing laws and juggling bills. Oh, it's quite a thrill in the Congress.
So the Congress is our legislative branch. They are like jugglers. They pass laws, they vote on laws, they write laws. They make these bills and then they vote on them to become laws.
Focus your attention on ring number three. The judiciary's in the spotlight. The courts take the laws and they tame the crimes, balancing the wrongs with your rights.
And so remember, they're the ones who make sure that we're following the Constitution. We're making sure that they're making sure that the laws are created equal, right, and fair.
No one part can be more powerful than any other is. Each controls the other, you see, and that's what we call checks and balances. Well,
So that's called checks and balances. They're all equal. They all can check each other. And what we call a check is a check and balance, so that they're all equal to each other. One doesn't have more say than another.
everybody's act is part of the show, and no one's job is more important. The audience is kind of like the country, you know, keeping an eye on their performance. Ring one, executive. Two is legislative, that's Congress. Ring three, judiciary. See, it's kind of like my circus. My circus, I'm gonna have a three-ring circus someday. People will say it's a fine one, son. But until I get it, I'll do my thing. With government, it's got three rings.
All right. So what we're going to do now is we are going to review for your quiz. So I'm going to go over the answers to your lesson quiz that you guys are going to be taking today. And then afterwards, some of you guys have a lot of missing assignments that we need to get through, okay? So the blank is the leader of our country. Go ahead and type it in the chat. The blank is the leader of our country. I'll give you a hint. This is going to be the executive branch. They are considered the leader of our country. Very good, Ray. The president. The president is the leader of our country. Very good, Russell, Ava, Eva. What does Congress do? Remember, they're the jugglers. What does Congress do? They sign laws, they carry out the laws, they write the Constitution, or they make and vote on laws. Very good, lots of D's, awesome. Makes and votes on laws. They are the one who make and vote on them. President signs them. The police system, like the policemen, and sometimes even our judges, they help carry them out. And then writes the Constitution. Well, technically our Constitution is written, but then our Supreme Court is the one who makes sure that our constitutional rights are carried out in all of the laws that are made. So the Congress, our legislative branch, which is the House of Representatives and the Senate, they make and vote on those laws. Number 3, what are the 2 parts of Congress? And I just told you the answer. So there are 2 parts of Congress. Remember, 1, there's 2 from each state, and 1, it depends on how many people are in your state. Is it A, the Constitution and the President? B, the President and the government? C, the Senate and the House of Representatives? Or is it D, the House of Representatives and the Supreme Court? What are the 2 parts of Congress? How come I don't see anybody typing in the chat? Okay, I'm going to give you guys a hint. The Senate is going to be one of them. So the next one is going to be the House of Representatives. The Senate, you have to have 2 from every country. So there is a total of 100 senators. The House of Representatives, it depends on how many people are in your state. So for example, there's a lot more people in California than there is in Utah. So there's going to be more House of Representatives for California than there will be in Utah or in Maryland, because they're going to have a smaller population of people. So the Senate and the House of Representatives are the 2 parts of Congress. And you can go back in our video from yesterday and even today and read about that. Okay, question number 4. How does the Supreme Court make sure laws are fair? What do they use to make sure that their laws are fair? Very good. They use the Constitution. They look at the Constitution, they look at our constitutional rights, and they see, are these laws fair? If they don't follow the Constitution, then they can say to the president that cannot become a law because it interferes with our constitutional rights. And then the last one, how does the government keep things fair? We learned about this. It's called checks and balances. Checks and balances. That's how it keeps things fair. So which one talks about checks and balances? A, the Supreme Court picks the president. No, we technically vote as a country. B, Congress decides if a law has been broken. No, that's usually going to be the court system. C, the president has to say yes to a new law. Well, that doesn't necessarily keep the government fair. D, there are checks in places between the branches of government. Yes, because no one branch is stronger than another, then our government can be fair and equal. So D, there are checks in place between the branches. All right, guys, you guys are free to take this quiz now. There are a few of you guys who have missing work, so please make sure you guys get those done.